Okay, you are absolutely not going to believe the sheer uh, audacity, the outrage we're diving into today. Welcome to the Deep Dive Report Show with Mike and Sam.
It's really something.
Late Friday night, creeping past midnight on the East Coast, the Supreme Court got involved to stop one of the most disgusting plans from the disgraced Trump regime.
We're talking about Venezuelan migrants, people seeking refuge, currently held in the Bluebonnet Detention Center down in Texas.
And the plan, this vile, disgusting plan, to basically snatch them up and ship them off to El Salvador. Let's be crystal clear. This wasn't some administrative transfer. This was a calculated, cynical move designed to stop these people from ever getting their day in court.
Exactly. It's about denying access to habeas corpus, that fundamental right to challenge unlawful detention. It's about denying any kind of due process.
It's absolutely fundamental. And thank God for the ACLU, right? They jumped on this immediately.
They had to.
First stop, federal court in D.C. They get Judge Boasberg.
Yeah.
And get this, even Boasberg looks at the law, looks at Supreme Court precedent, and says, yeah, okay, generally people facing removal do have due process rights. But then he completely punts, claims he doesn't have jurisdiction. Essentially, yeah, it looks bad, but not my table.
Frustrating. Jurisdiction is, the court's power to even hear a case. He basically said his court wasn't the right place.
Right, washing his hands of it while these people are facing, well, deportation to a potentially dangerous situation, stripped of their rights.
It certainly feels like prioritizing procedural neatness over, actual human rights in that moment.
So the ACLU, they don't give up. They refile, this time in Texas, where the detention center actually is. Makes sense.
Logically, yes.
And wouldn't you know it, the case lands smack in front of a Trump appointee, Judge Wes Hendris. And this is where it just gets infuriating. Hendris tosses the case, dismisses it. Why?
Let me guess. Procedure.
Bingo. On a ridiculous procedural technicality, he says because the ACLU had already filed an appeal onto the Fifth Circuit from the D.C. case.
Oh, come on.
They couldn't bring this case in his court. It's insane. You can't ask for help because you're already asking for help somewhere else.
It's a classic catch-22. It basically penalizes them for trying every available legal avenue. It's deeply concerning when you see the system used like that.
And meanwhile, you have the Trump administration folks reportedly saying, oh no, we don't have any plans to send these migrants to El Salvador.
Right, despite evidence suggesting otherwise.
Exactly. The ACLU called them out, said these people lie constantly. They said the same thing before about other groups, and then, whoops, they went ahead and did it anyway. Pure dishonesty.
And that kind of alleged dishonesty from the government in a legal proceeding, it's incredibly serious. It undermines the entire process.
But did Judge Hendris care? Did this alleged pattern of deception sway him? Nope. Still refused to issue any order. Just let the clock tick down towards deportation.
Leaving the ACLU with very few options.
Precisely. Their only move left was the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals. Now, people need to understand the Fifth Circuit. It's heavily stacked with Trump and George W. Bush appointees. Very conservative.
Yeah, it has a certain reputation, especially on immigration matters.
So the ACLU files an emergency appeal. They're screaming, help, emergency, lower courts drop the ball. These people are about to be illegally removed.
A genuine emergency situation, legally speaking.
And what does the mighty Fifth Circuit do?
Let me guess. Nothing quickly.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. They just sat on it, ignored the emergency plea completely, let it languish.
Which is, quite frankly, astonishing for an appellate court faced with an emergency motion alleging imminent, irreparable harm.
It's a dereliction of duty. Which brings us, finally, dragging and screaming to the Supreme Court, late Friday night.
The court of last resort.
The ACLU files an emergency application. They lay it all out. D.C. court punted. Texas court played games. Fifth Circuit went silent. They need intervention, and now W.
And remarkably, given the hour.
Yeah, around 1 a.m. Saturday morning, the Supreme Court issues an order. Brief, but powerful.
What did it say exactly?
I've got it right here. Quote, the government is directed not to remove any member of the putative class of detainees from the United States until further order of this court. Boom!
Putative class, meaning?
Right, let's break that down. The putative class is just the legal term for this specific group of Venezuelan migrants targeted by the government's plan. It's the group the lawsuit is trying to protect.
Got it. And the case name?
It's AARP et al.
Wow.
B. Trump, President of the United States et al. The et al. Just means and others. Now, the court did acknowledge the application related to the Alien Enemies Act, and noted the case was technically still supposed to be before the Fifth Circuit.
Ah, so they didn't fully take over the case yet.
Not exactly. What they did was tell the Solicitor General, that's the government's main lawyer before the Supreme Court, to file a response, but only after the Fifth Circuit finally gets around to ruling.
But the crucial part
is they didn't wait. They immediately ordered a halt to all removals for these specific migrants. They froze the situation.
a temporary injunction, essentially, in order to stop the action.
Exactly. An injunction stopping the removals.
Yeah.
It's temporary, yes, but absolutely vital. It stopped these people from being shipped off while the legal mess gets sorted.
So it's a pause button, giving everyone, including the courts, breathing room.
But predictably,
There was dissent.
oh yeah, Justices Thomas and Alito, they dissented. They apparently would have let the removals go forward even without the lower courts acting or the case being fully heard.
So they disagreed with even this temporary stay.
Let that sink in. They were seemingly okay with just letting happen. Thankfully, 7 other justices saw the need for at least this pause.
It really highlights the stakes and the divisions on the court regarding issues like this.
But just to recap the terms for everyone listening, putative class is a group of migrants. Injunction is the order to stop the removals. The ACLU is the group fighting for them in court.
And the Fifth Circuit is the appeals court for Texas that failed to act promptly.
And the Supreme Court, the highest court, had to step in because all the lower levels basically failed.
It underscores the role of the Supreme Court as a fail-safe sometimes when lower courts don't provide relief, rightly or wrongly.
But let's be clear, this isn't justice served. This is a temporary reprieve, a Band-Aid forced onto a situation created by a cruel and inhumane regime and enabled by inaction lower down the judicial chain.
The underlying issues haven't been resolved. The fight for these individuals' rights is far from over.
Absolutely. We have to stay vigilant. This shows how fragile these protections can be. So please keep listening to the Deep Dive Report Show. If you value this kind of analysis, like this video, subscribe to the channel.
And definitely click that notification icon. Things are moving fast.
You bet they are. You'll catch them in the next breaking news.